Most men believe emotion makes them human. They believe feeling deeply makes them strong. They believe expressing emotion makes them authentic. But power does not reward authenticity. Power rewards control. The men who are impossible to control understand this early. They feel less, not because they are broken, not because they are empty, but because they do not allow emotion to govern behavior. Emotion is leverage, and whoever can pull that lever controls the man. Most men don't notice when it happens. A comment changes their mood. A delay triggers anxiety. A rejection provokes anger. Their behavior shifts immediately. That shift is visible, and once it is visible, it can be used. Men who feel nothing deny this access. They do not react emotionally. They do not escalate internally. They do not broadcast internal states. This makes them unreadable. Unreadable men are difficult. Difficult men are respected. Respected men are feared. Fear does not come from aggression, it comes from uncertainty. When people cannot read what affects you, they cannot influence you. This is why emotionally neutral men feel dangerous. They do not provide feedback. No reassurance, no outrage, no visible approval or disapproval. The environment receives nothing, and silence creates pressure. Most men relieve pressure by reacting. They explain feelings, they justify emotions, they seek relief through expression. Men who feel nothing do the opposite. They let pressure sit. Pressure exposes weakness, but only in others. Those around them become uncomfortable. They overtalk, they overshare, they reveal urgency. The emotionally neutral man gains information without effort. Information is control. Control makes manipulation unnecessary. Most men think emotional detachment means indifference. It doesn't. It means separation. Separation between feeling and action. Men who feel nothing still experience emotion. They simply do not obey it. This distinction is everything. An emotional man reacts before thinking. A controlled man thinks before moving. Reaction makes men predictable. Predictable men are easy to manage. They can be rushed, they can be guilted, they can be pressured. Men who feel nothing resist all three. They move at their own pace. Time bends toward them. While emotional men rush to relieve discomfort, emotionally neutral men allow discomfort to work for them. Discomfort reveals desperation. Desperation shifts power. This is why emotionally neutral men dominate negotiations. They do not fear silence. They do not fear delay. They do not fear loss of approval. They are complete without external reinforcement. Completeness is power. People respect what does not need them. Men who feel nothing do not seek reassurance. They do not ask how they are perceived. They do not monitor emotional temperature. They do not adjust themselves to be liked. They let outcomes speak. Outcomes silence doubt. Most men explain emotion to feel understood, but being understood is not power. Being uncontrollable is. Men who feel nothing cannot be steered emotionally. They cannot be provoked easily. They cannot be guilted effectively. They cannot be shamed into retreat. This frustrates others. Frustration escalates behavior. Escalation exposes intent. The emotionally neutral man watches calmly. He does not interrupt self-exposure. He lets people show who they are. Over time, people learn something important. Emotion does not move this man. Nothing they try works. And when nothing works, behavior changes. Respect replaces manipulation. Distance replaces pressure. Men who feel nothing create boundaries without announcing them. They do not argue, they do not threaten, they do not negotiate emotionally. They remain unmoved. Unmoved men feel immovable, and immovable men control environments. This is why emotionally neutral men rise quietly. They do not signal ambition emotionally. They do not celebrate loudly. They do not collapse under stress. They remain consistent. Consistency builds trust. Trust creates authority. Authority attracts power. This is the foundation. Men who feel nothing understand a truth most men avoid. Emotion is the primary tool used to control human behavior. Fear, guilt, desire, hope. Every system of power depends on these levers. The moment a man becomes emotionally attached to outcomes, he becomes governable. Most men live inside emotional loops. They chase validation. They fear rejection. They crave certainty. They avoid discomfort. These loops make them predictable. Predictability is vulnerability. Men who feel nothing step outside these loops. They do not emotionally invest in outcomes they cannot control. They do not attach identity to approval. They do not panic when things are uncertain. This detachment feels unnatural to most people, because most people need emotion to feel grounded. Men who feel nothing do not. They ground themselves internally. Internal grounding creates stability. Stability creates power. In leadership, emotionally reactive men are liabilities. They make decisions to relieve stress. They compromise to avoid tension. They explain to reduce pressure. Emotion drives their behavior. Men who feel nothing behave differently. They let tension exist. They let discomfort remain unresolved. They let others struggle emotionally. This is not cruelty, it is discipline. Discipline separates feeling from action. When pressure rises, emotionally neutral men slow down. They do not rush decisions to escape discomfort. They sit with it. This patience unnerves others. Most people cannot tolerate emotional tension for long. They want relief. They speak too soon. They concede too early. They reveal desperation. The emotionally neutral man gains leverage simply by waiting. Waiting is a weapon. It exposes urgency. Urgency shifts power. This is why men who feel nothing dominate negotiations. They do not fear silence. They do not fear delays. They do not fear walking away. Their calm communicates indifference to outcome. Indifference terrifies emotional opponents because it removes leverage. You cannot threaten a man who does not care emotionally. You cannot rush a man who is comfortable waiting. You cannot manipulate a man who feels nothing. This frustrates people. Frustration causes escalation. Escalation reveals weakness. Men who feel nothing observe quietly. They do not interrupt self-sabotage. They allow others to expose themselves. Over time, people learn something critical. Emotion does not work here. When emotion stops working,
Respect replaces it. Men who feel nothing also understand the difference between numbness and mastery. Numbness is avoidance. Mastery is control. They do not suppress emotion blindly. They regulate it. They decide when emotion is useful. Anger becomes a tool, not a reflex. Confidence becomes stable, not inflated. Fear becomes information, not paralysis. This selective use of emotion makes them dangerous because their emotional responses are intentional. Nothing leaks unintentionally. Most men leak constantly. Tone shifts, posture changes, voice cracks. Men who feel nothing leak nothing. This creates an information asymmetry. Others reveal, they do not. Information asymmetry is power. This is why emotionally neutral men are often accused of being cold. But cold is misunderstood. They are not cold, they are contained. Containment prevents exploitation. People cannot pull emotional strings that are not exposed. This makes emotionally neutral men difficult to influence socially. They are not swayed by flattery. They are not destabilized by criticism. They are not rushed by urgency. They remain unchanged. Unchanged men feel solid. People trust solidity. Trust creates authority. Authority attracts responsibility. Responsibility concentrates power. This is how men who feel nothing quietly rise. They are not charismatic. They are not expressive. They are reliable. Reliability outperforms charisma over time. Charisma fades. Emotion fluctuates. Reliability compounds. Men who feel nothing also avoid emotional burnout. They do not carry unnecessary emotional weight. They do not relive every interaction internally. They do not spiral mentally. This preserves clarity. Clarity allows long-term thinking. Long-term thinking wins. While emotional men exhaust themselves fighting internal battles, emotionally neutral men conserve energy. Energy becomes focus. Focus becomes execution. Execution produces results. Results silence doubt. This is the second truth.
Men who feel nothing eventually reach a point where control becomes invisible. They do not announce authority. They do not demand obedience. They do not assert dominance emotionally. The environment adjusts around them. People slow down when they speak. They choose words more carefully. They hesitate before testing limits, not because they were threatened, but because emotional access no longer exists. When emotion disappears as a lever, manipulation fails. This is when fear replaces influence. Fear is not panic. Fear is awareness. Awareness that nothing you do emotionally will move this man. That awareness changes behavior. Most men try to dominate through force, volume, or presence. Emotionally neutral men dominate through absence. Absence of reaction, absence of reassurance, absence of emotional reward. Without reward, behavior extinguishes, provocation stops, testing ends, pressure fades. What remains is structure. Structure is power. Men who feel nothing create structure wherever they go. They are predictable in standards, but unreadable in emotion. This combination is lethal. People know what is expected, but they do not know what happens if they cross the line. That uncertainty enforces discipline better than threats ever could. Emotionally neutral men also understand something most men never grasp. Power is not taken, it is allowed. People allow power to those who cannot be rushed, guilted, or shaken. Men who feel nothing fit this profile perfectly. They do not need to intimidate, they let others intimidate themselves. Silence amplifies insecurity. When someone becomes emotional and receives no reaction, their emotion feels foolish. They either escalate and lose control or retreat to save face. Both outcomes lower their status. Emotionally neutral men allow this process to complete. They do not interrupt it. They let people reveal themselves fully. Over time, people learn not to test what does not respond. Respect replaces challenge. This is how emotionally neutral men become feared without being aggressive. Fear emerges from inevitability, from the sense that this man cannot be influenced emotionally, from the realization that consequences exist even if they are never announced. Men who feel nothing also accept solitude. They do not rely on emotional feedback to feel stable. They are comfortable being misunderstood. They are comfortable being disliked. They are comfortable standing alone. This comfort signals internal strength. People respect men who are not dependent on them. Dependence reverses hierarchy. Independence restores it. Emotionally neutral men are independent internally. This independence radiates outward. Others feel it immediately. In leadership, this creates gravity. People trust men who do not panic. People follow men who do not waver. People rely on men who do not react emotionally. Reliability creates authority. Authority concentrates power. Emotionally neutral men also understand that feeling nothing does not mean caring about nothing. It means choosing what deserves emotion. They do not waste emotional energy on ego, approval, or noise. They reserve emotion for action. When they finally act, it is decisive. Decisive action feels final. Finality creates compliance. People do not argue with finality, they adjust. This is why emotionally neutral men are rarely challenged at the peak. By the time they reach it, the environment has already been conditioned. Conditioned by silence, conditioned by restraint, conditioned by consistency. The emotional men around them burn out. They overreact, they overshare, they collapse under pressure. The emotionally neutral man remains. Remaining is power. Most men seek control through expression. They speak louder, they react faster, they push harder. Emotionally neutral men do the opposite. They withdraw expression, they delay reaction, they let pressure build. Pressure exposes weakness, but not in them. This is the final truth. Men who feel nothing are impossible to control because there is nothing to pull. No emotional strings, no guilt triggers, no approval addiction. They decide internally, they act deliberately, they accept outcomes fully. This makes them uncontrollable, and uncontrollable men are respected. Welcome to PowerMind Coded. Stop leaking emotion. Stop reacting instinctively. Stop allowing others access to your internal state. Control emotion. Contain reaction. Let silence do the work. Because the men who feel nothing are the men no one can move.